Hello, everyone. This is Johannes Andersson from the band Tribulation. You're listening to the Dan Chan Show on Hard Rock Hell Radio.
How's it going, Johannes?
I'm doing fine. I've been working a lot, actually, with my ordinary job at a warehouse. But sometimes you have to refill your pockets to make rent and so on.
Of course, I fully understand that. So first of all, congratulations on Where the Gloom Becomes Sound. It's a killer album, man. For me, it's one of the strongest contenders for Album of the Year already. You've had some incredible feedback. You must be really pleased, right?
I am. And yeah, as you said, the feedback has been splendid, I must say. I haven't seen any bad reviews so far, so no. That's a sign. I'm sure they exist though, but I haven't seen them. Fortunately,
you have to filter them out. Only read the good ones.
Yeah,
but to be fair,
overall, I'm very.
Yeah, I mean, you must be.
I'm very pleased.
I mean, I've been going through your reviews over the last few days of the album, and it's just been solid. Really positive.
Yeah.
So, being from Sweden, a country that thrives in producing brilliant bands and music, is there a certain pressure on you to keep the bar so high?
I mean, that bar is always high from ourselves as well. Not only comparing with other Swedish bands, but I do agree. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of Sweden, and has been for a lot of decades now. But but you kind of outgrew the competition, the comparing with other albums in Sweden.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them has become, acquaintances or friends as well. So it's like, it's more like a big family scene where you root for the other guys as well. Yeah. So there's definitely no competition. But it's always nice to hear new releases. I think lately, I rarely listen to new music, but lately there's been popping up so much Swedish releases. So
yeah.
It's good times to
what you've been listening to.
Yeah, it's good times to. As I said, a lot of friends actually. I don't know if you know Henrik Palm.
I've had him on the show. Great album. Poverty Man.
All right.
Great album. Yeah. He's been on the show many months ago. Very cool.
Yeah. And a friend from close to the place we grew up in, his band, Rob Coffin Shaker's Underground Fire.
Right.
They also released, I think that also was 2020, very good album, Ashes to Life.
Yeah.
Do check that out.
Yeah, we'll. Sure. Yeah, we'll check that out. Anyway, back to you guys. So you recorded the album. Yeah. You guys recorded the album in the middle of last year, in the midst of the pandemic. I know Sweden took a different approach, so I suppose it was a normal process for you, right?
Yeah, it ran kind of normal, I'd say. Of course, it was, as you said, in the beginning of the pandemic. So, and Sweden, as you said as well, kind of tackled it in its own way, and so I mean, there wasn't anything new. We entered the studio. Of course, we were a bit worried if we were to get it. Yeah. We had to do something about it, postpone the recordings, I guess. But fortunately, we did stay healthy, and maybe took some more precautions. We didn't go to the pub every night, at least, and. Yeah, we stayed for 2 months, so it was a good way of isolating yourself as well.
I suppose
from the rest of the city.
And this album feels like an album it feels like an album of two halves. Like a vinyl record. Was it planned that way? Because the way it plays is just phenomenal.
No, we didn't plan it. It kind of became that way in the end. First of all, you record without having a fixed set list, I guess.
Yeah.
And we always feel our albums should be listened to as a whole, not a song each day, so we're very keen on getting the right kind of tempos in the album where they should be. So there's no dull moments. And I do agree, though, about the A and B side. we kind of decided upon that when we had all the songs recorded, and it made sense to have the instrumental song kind of in the very middle of it to, emphasize the changing
yin and
of
yang.
sides. If you're talking about vinyl, and of course the turnout, for me at least, the A side was a bit more experimental, I guess, and the B side was more of the rocker side, as the producer said. It's more a bit more tempo on the B side.
And I was going to mention, we talk about producers and mixers. You had a great team behind you. The recording of the album, including Grammy-nominated Tom Galgetti, who has worked with Ghost and Rammstein. How much credit goes to the studio team to gain your much broader sound now?
I'd say, first of all, I'm very pleased with whom we chose to work with, but it's, it kind of made sense. There was strong wills involved, and it turned out to be all good choices. I mean, first of all, the producer Jamie Elton from the UK, actually. He's been our front of house on gigs and tours. So he was, and he's also, a studio whiz. So he's also recording a lot. So he got that. He was in charge of that, of course, and of course we listened to his input, and sometimes it was good, and sometimes we didn't agree. The usual producer band role. But most of all, he's so pleasant to be around. It's definitely a guy I could spend even 4 months with, without being irritated, because he's so professional and a funny guy to hang around with. And Tom was probably, he was a big part of the sound, I'd say, of course, because of his mixing part in the album. But he approached us when we were on tour with Ghost, actually, and we could sense that he seemed at least eager to work with us, because I think he were at 3 or 4 Ghost shows. He tended to hang out more with us than the other guys in Ghost, for example. So he kind of, sat down at our table and wanted to know everything about us and get to know us. And when we came back from that tour and we're starting to plan the studio session and this album we're talking about, he of course came up and when we asked, he was very happy and very happy with the results. We spent the whole summer, because of the pandemic, we couldn't fly to Bath, where he's from, or where he lives. So it was a lot of messaging. I think we used Messenger, and he sent, but it worked out.
I know.
But it took a while longer, I guess. And then we used our go-to guy when it comes to mastering, Magnus Lindberg. He has a awesome studio in Stockholm. So me and Oscar, the drummer, went there for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours and just went through. And he'd already, put the icing on the cake by then. And we were just very happy with the results and made the intros and outros and the songs going into each other and such work.
I've been with the band since the Down Below album, and you really are evolving. And you said that this album is more mainstream than the previous offerings, which is obvious. Is this a natural evolvement of the band, do you think, as you grow older?
Yeah, that's one point of view, and I do agree. I mean, it feels like every album has been developing with ourselves, getting older, as you said, getting wiser, and it's quite clear that we were kids when we made the first album. We wanted to play fast, hard, and extreme.
Pure death metal, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't mean I don't listen to extreme metal anymore. I still do, but that's the music we wanted to play at the time, and I think the evolution throughout the albums is kind of it's following our lives, getting older and getting different inspirations on the way. So, but yeah, it is becoming more mainstream. I do agree, but that's also something to do with age, I guess. When we were young and released the 2 first albums, the underground was a big thing, especially in Sweden. So then it was all about the underground and staying true to it. But yeah, as you are getting older, you kind of cool down and don't see it as night and day as much.
I mean, do you consciously think you're going to open up to a bigger market now? Is that on your mind?
It's not the plan.
No. But it helps
at all. It just happens. It just happens to be more, developing into more and more easy listen music, I guess, and that's what's making it mainstream, so to say, and that itself, of course, can open up doors for bigger stages. But yeah, I mean, it's you never know what's going to hit and what's going to miss. One aspect as well in talking about this is, of course, the harsh vocals that's still present.
Keeps many away.
So that's and it keeps one toe at least. For us in the underground. Yeah.
I mean, is it cool that people point your music in the direction of bands such as In Solitude, Ghost, Repugnant? I read one review where it called Tribulation Ghost on steroids. Do you like that? Is that cool with you?
I mean, that's totally fine. I mean, me personally don't think the music compares that well with Ghost. I do agree about In Solitude. We were all good friends and we were playing at the same time. We did tours together. So I'd say In Solitude is way closer musically than Ghost. But Ghost, they put on a show. And that's something we're trying to do as well. So maybe we could compare it in that sense. But I mean, we are getting more mainstream, but still, Ghost to me is a bit more like Alice Cooper horror, if that makes sense.
Okay,
The more childish, so to say.
So
while I think us in Tribulation might be a bit darker in that sense and sing about different themes.
And I was going to say about the writing of the themes, you're writing about myth, magic and the occult. Do you find it fun to deliver these topics in your songs?
Fun, I mean, it feels necessary, I guess. It's what we've always been doing as well. I mean, since the first album. It's always been about ghosts, vampires, and the supernatural that we find interesting, I guess. And there's so much depth to those worlds, I guess.
Absolutely.
So we can drain it forever, at least 10 more years.
Oh yeah. Now, Where the Gloom Becomes Sound is such an expressive, atmospheric title for the album. How did it come about?
It's an old title. I wanted to call the previous album Down Below I wanted to call that Where the Gloom Becomes Sound, but I got voted down, by the other guys, and I'm glad they did because it fits this album way better. But it's from this German dark wave band, Soper Aternus and the Ensemble of Shadows. They have this song Hades Platoon. So it's actually stolen from that lyric.
Really? Very cool.
And it just feels very Tribulation, I guess. Gloom is a word that at least I connect a lot with Tribulation. And it's just beautiful.
I agree. What's the story behind the cover art? It's very striking.
That's actually, I think he was Belgian. This guy, Fernand Noff, he was an artist. He did many things, but this is a sculpture. Couldn't find that much information about it. But the story is that I myself was browsing for art. I buy posters and frame them myself. So I was on this online poster store, and it just showed up in in the section, when you scroll down on the page, it says, you might like this. Other people have bought this. Yeah. And that's where the image appeared first time for me. And I, of course, instantly clicked it and fell in love with it. So I added that to my order, and I framed the picture, and I brought it to the studio and hung it up in the control room. So she was with us during the session. That's and cool. Yeah, and at the end I was kind of hinting, all right, guys, shouldn't she be on the cover as well? And it was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, she's the cover.
They all agreed on that one then this time.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that was easy. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but another part of the story is she doesn't exist anymore. The sculpture was bombed in the World War II.
Wow.
So, but some clever guy took a good photo of it. So
yeah, that's good.
Now we can preserve it
cool.
a bit more.
So what songs off the new album are you excited to play? I could hear this album being played in its entirety on a tour.
Yeah, hard to say. Kind of early because, live seems so far away still, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, I mean, of course, I have a feeling already. I think first track will be played, In Remembrance. It has such a catchy chorus, and it's a bit more special, I guess, and maybe the newest kind of music we've done. So I think In Remembrance is going to be played because of those qualities.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I could see that song as a perfect opener because of the intro as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can hear that.
And I guess Hour of the Wolf will be played. Definitely. And so. I feel that Funeral Pyre will also be played. It's 2 out of 3 singles I mentioned now, but they feel, to me at least, like we all agree in the band already that those songs are catchy and they feel very Tribulation, and a few comments I've seen all love those songs. So
definitely,
that's the main reason. So those songs will be played live. I can almost assure you.
That's good. You've done some great tours. Which is a tour that stands out the most? Which one's most successful for you? Because probably one of the last tours you did was with Ghost at the end of 2019.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not say that tour, but I mean, it wasn't probably the funniest tour, or maybe not even the most successful in a way. In a way, it's most successful because there was the most people every night we ever played to. So in that sense, it was, of course, successful. But it sucks because of the pandemic. We really don't know because we couldn't follow up the tour. It's been over a year now, so it's very hard to say if that tour really made a difference. But other than that tour, I think we all really liked a tour we did in the States in 2015 with this band, Death Heaven. That tour was just perfect in a way. Of course, you always have some doubts going out with a band that we, of course, didn't knew about. Or, I mean, they were very fresh, at least in my ears. But it turned out they were, the greatest guys we ever toured with, I guess. And there were only us two. It was Death Heaven and Tribulation. And I really prefer, two bands packages like that. So those, I think it was 5 weeks. Those weeks were, even if it was a kind of shitty night, small venue or a small crowd, you had so much fun with the other guys. So it was a very good one.
So it's an exciting future ahead for the band, and with original member and main songwriter Jonathan leaving after the record was in the can fans be assured that Tribulation can continue going forward to raise the bar?
They sure can. First of all, he wasn't the main writer, but he was one of the main writers.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're still going strong. We announced, as you know, a new guitar player.
Yeah, your friend, a good friend of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, Joseph. He's my oldest friend. Actually,
that must be cool, right?
Yeah, it is. It's we had a lot of bands, me and Joseph, but this is my main focus band. So it feels like finally we can tour together, because all the projects we've been doing is not touring bands. Maybe pub shows, and he's also a great songwriter, and we always loved his take on music, I guess, as well. He has the same kind of language when it comes to melancholy and sadness, I guess, and metal. So because we grew up together, we are basically the same when it comes to which German thrash metal bands are good and which Blind Guardian albums are good and everything. Cool. So it's very comforting in that sense. But that being said, no one knows how he will work in this band. It's a new constellation, of course.
It's cool.
So,
it's a new chapter, right?
So we're all excited what's going to come out. Excellent. But I'm very sure that it's going to be sounding Tribulation and good, but just another take on it, I guess.
Yeah. Now this is a tough question, but what one song from your repertoire would sum Tribulation up the best? One song.
I guess I have to say the hit from 2015's record, Children of the Night, Melancholia.
Yeah.
It's been played every show, I think, since it got released. That's a lot of shows, and it seems like people never get bored of it or tired. It's just one of those. I mean, if any song of ours should be called a hit, that's our hit, I guess.
And talking to shows, I mean, you've got tour dates, I think, for October. Is that right, for Europe?
Yeah, we postponed that a lot of times now.
Yeah,
but we're always keeping our fingers crossed, and you can't stop planning just because of the COVID.
I mean, I know the UK is starting to announce festivals now for end of summer. So who knows, right?
They are.
Yeah, they've announced the Leeds Festival and the Reading Festival are going ahead. They've announced which are in August. So it's a bit too late for download.
You're talking about this year, right?
This year, yeah. The UK want to get back to normal.
That's bold.
Yeah, they want to get back to normal on the 21st of June, and they've said they want it to be a bank holiday the 21st of June. There are going to be so many hangovers on the 22nd, and everyone says it's going to be party time, and they reckon they're starting to sell holidays, starting to sell gigs, they're starting to book venues for gigs now. So the UK is kind of opening up now. The rest of Europe just needs to get the vaccination on, and let's get it on. Let's open it up.
Damn, I'm crossing my fingers. I really hope this.
So who knows? Because there's some great tours coming up at the end of the year. You got Behemoth, yourselves. There's so many going on.
Yeah, well, it's so hard to tell. No one has the right kind of 8-ball to.
No, that's right.
No, not 8-ball. What do you call it? The crystal ball.
Crystal ball. Yeah. So, lastly, what's the most used emoji in your phone?
Oh my God, it's probably the thumbs up, I think.
Yeah.
Boring answer, but it's definitely one I use the most.
That's not too gloomy. That's quite positive.
Yeah, but it's
thumbs down.
We chat. Yeah, but we chat so much. We have so many different chat groups, and so you kind of answer on your way to the bus or the subway. It's
okay's too long.
Up if someone's exactly. I mean, it used to be a wave, I guess. We had a wave as a emoji, but it disappeared and the thumb was there. So
gonna use it. Well, Johannes, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the tour and with the album.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.